Are you a single parent? You got 10 minutes? Huh? Let's talk. Hey there, you authentic parents. It's Joy here, and I'm so glad that you stopped by today. If you find anything in this video today that you like or that blesses you, please go ahead and like, share this video with other single parents. All right, so we're just gonna jump right in. If you have more than one child, you're gonna understand what I'm about to say. So I have 3 children, and each of them is completely different than the other. They are completely different personalities, completely different likes and dislikes. Had to parent them individually, completely, in every way. What I'm going to talk about today is my middle child, Kendall, and how the Lord literally healed my heart of childhood wounds so that I could effectively parent her. So when Kendall was a baby, she cried a lot. She cried a lot, much more than my first baby, who pretty much never cried. So then when Kendall came along, she cried a lot to the point where I thought she was colicky. Doctor said she wasn't colicky. I had to hold her a lot. I had to sing to her, rock her, spend a lot of time with her. She needed more attention than my first child. Kendall now is 11 years old, but as she's gotten older, she's become so artistic and creative, and she draws and she paints and she dances and she writes comic books all on her own, and she sees things differently than I do, and she's so kind and loving. She volunteers for anything. I have to force her to stop volunteering for stuff, like, girl, calm down. But she's just so generous and so giving and loving. She's so sweet. But she's also very, very sensitive, and she's very emotional. She cries easily still. Even now, she takes things seriously because she loves people so much that she gets hurt. Her feelings get hurt rather easily. And it is a lot for me to deal with because I'm not like that. I'm very rational. I'm not passive at all. I'm pretty good at saying what I want to say. And I don't cry. Whereas with Kendall, if I look at her the wrong way, she's gonna cry. Which is the complete opposite for me. I will hold my emotions in so that I can get stuff done. Things need to be done. I don't have time to sit and cry. That's the way I was. Until one day I was driving on the freeway. I don't remember where I was going, but I know that I was going south on the 99. And I could see through my peripheral that on the northbound 99, I saw one car getting ready to intersect with another car. I knew that there was about to be a car accident. And so I started praying, like, Lord, protect and cover those people. Because I could see this happening, and it did happen immediately. And I began to weep. I started to cry. But I had to keep driving. So I'm driving, but I'm still crying, and I'm just crying and crying for these people. And in my mind, I'm telling myself, okay, stop crying. You need to get to work. I was going to work. So I was telling myself, you need to stop crying. It's fine. Those people are fine. But I could not stop myself from crying. And so then I was getting really frustrated with myself inside. I'm like, why can I stop crying? I'm like, stop it. But I couldn't stop it. And I was getting really annoyed. And then all of a sudden I started having all these flashbacks of my childhood. And I started getting all these childhood flashbacks coming back in from when my parents were telling me as a child, Joy, stop crying, stop crying, stop crying. And I remember, so I'm literally seeing pictures of my childhood flash in front of my eyes, and I could see my parents telling me to stop crying. And I could see my life from childhood and how I started to get harder and harder and harder in my heart, to the point where, like I said earlier, I don't cry, or I did not cry. And so the Lord was showing me all these little images, and he showed me how I got to this point where I was in life where I never cried, that I'm not emotional, and I was proud of it. And then he started showing me my daughter, Kendall, and he started showing me all the times I did the same thing to her. Kendall, stop crying. Kendall, stop crying. Why are you crying? And I had been so frustrated with her because I didn't understand why this little girl cries so much. Until that day, and the Lord started showing me. He was like, you used to be just like that. Don't you remember you used to be just like that until your parents shut it out of you? And all of a sudden, I could remember. I remember how sensitive I used to be. I remember how artistic and creative and just excited and helpful I used to be. And I remember when I stopped so that I could be more mature and I could be the type of child that my parents needed me to be. Now you have to understand that I didn't grow up in a Christian home. I didn't know who this Jesus person was. It was a very dysfunctional household. I was never told that I was loved. I was never hugged. I was never told good job, even though I tried so hard. I always got straight A's. I was never affirmed as a child, never received that type of love. And so the Lord was just bringing all this back to me, and he was showing me why I had been so hard on my daughter and why she was difficult for me to parent. And it's because there were parts of my own heart that hadn't been healed before. So when I saw it in my daughter, I didn't like it. I didn't like it because it was a part of me that I had buried and hidden so far down that I couldn't even remember ever being that type of girl. That was never me as an adult, as a teen, and as an adult, and as I was. This happened about maybe 5 years ago. And so after he revealed that to me, I began to look at my daughter in a whole new way. And now I tell her all the time, Kendall, you're just like me. I'm hard on her because she's just like me. And so I know her areas of weakness because they were my areas of weakness. And so now I can parent her the way that the Lord would have me to parent her, because I'm not hurting her. I'm not parenting her out of my own hurt. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's just like that saying everybody says nowadays, hurt people hurt people. Well, what do you do if you don't know that you're hurt? What do you do if you've forgotten who you really were? Well, that's what God steps in for. The fervent prayers of the righteous avail much. That's his word. And God is a healer. He heals hearts. He heals emotions. He heals physical things. He heals. And when he gave us these kids, he gave me these kids. He entrusted me. He's entrusting you to raise your kids in the way that he would have them to be raised. I'm going to always say that. You're going to always hear me say that. And I also believe that God gives us the kids exactly type of child that we should have, because we're growing up with them. God will heal you through your own children if you will allow him to. See, I had been praying for Kendall. I had been praying for her. Like, God, what's wrong with her? Why is she so sensitive? Why does she cry all the time? How come we can't joke around with Kendall the way I can with my other kids? Like, what's wrong with her? I was asking God. And then God was like, ain't nothing wrong with her. Something's wrong with you. You're the one who's broken. But because you asked me, I'm going to show you exactly what's broken within you. And that's exactly what he did. But I had to allow him to do that. And so as a parent, as a single parent, you have to be willing to allow the Lord to help you parent your children so that you don't damage them in the process. Kendall was difficult for me because I was already emotionally stretched. I have 3 children to take care of and a full-time job, and I was going to school at this time to get my degree. I didn't have time or patience for any extra emotional energy. Authenticity, right? That is real life. Until God stepped in, until I consulted God, because I knew that it was too much for me, but I also knew what he required of me, but I didn't know how to bind the two together until he showed me that day, and everything made sense after that. And so now I could love her the way that she needs to be loved. You know, her love language is quality time. She likes to do things together. And I forgot that was also me too. So allow the Lord to heal you so that you can be the best parent that you can, the intentional, authentic parent to your children as well. So I just wanted to share that story with you today to let you know that God really can help you parent. God helps you parent. He is the ultimate parent, and he wants to partner with you if you would allow him to. So allow him to heal your heart. And if this is something, if you do have a child who just seems to be a struggle for you, because for me, Kendall was that one child that made me really pray fervently. And the Lord heard my cry, and he came through for me, and he healed me, and he healed my relationship with my daughter as well. And so if that's you, really seek the Lord about it. He wants to hear from you. He wants to help you. He wants to come alongside you, and he wants you to be free from whatever it is that's hidden, that's buried, that may be interrupting your parenting. Okay, so be blessed, single parents, authentic parents. Even if you're not a single parent and you're watching, thank you. And again, if you like this video, go ahead and push the like button and share it with your other friends. All right, be blessed. See you back here next Tuesday.